Good evening, everyone. This is Select Board Water Commissioner meeting for Monday, October 14th of 2024. Tonight's agenda, under old business, we've got the 2024 grand list, some errors and omissions we gotta look at. We got the Historical Society room grant for historic preservation easement. We got a personnel policy update. Under new business, we've got a second class liquor license application for Stewart Shops Corporation, a road cut permit for Macy and Sons Dairy LLC, right-of-way occupancy request for Vermont Electric Co-op, fleet permit for HB Logging LLC and HB Trucking LLC, payroll warrants, accounts payable warrants, minutes from the September 23rd meeting, proceedings minutes of September 30th hearing meeting, minutes of October 1st meeting, got town administrator's report, and anything else to say about the agenda.
Nope.
There's anything to speak about our meeting with on the water.
Is there any
That's the
updates?
October 1st meeting.
Got the minutes from that. Is there any other updates?
I haven't heard anything since about that.
Today was all over,
I don't know if the full board wanted to speak anything, whatever, later, maybe we just have a little chit chat about it.
so. Yep. Grand list errors and omissions. Where was that?
Yeah, sorry.
Alright. So there's just some
Yeah,
tidying up of the grand list.
yeah, I think he wrote the explanation there of
Yeah.
what exactly went wrong, for example.
We've got one from Tori and Tammy.
Right, so they put a new trailer on their, they replaced their trailer last year and we assessed the trailer correctly, but I think some of the information about like the year of the trailer was never updated in the
Okay.
list, so that made a difference in terms of determining the value, so.
Okay.
So just some of the information was incorrect, so.
Yep. So there's a change from 37,900 to 44,600, $6,700 change there. And then Dustin and Danielle Macy,
I believe he sold a parcel from off of his land, and I don't know if that, I think there was some sort of agreement about how the taxes were gonna be split up in terms of this year's tax bill on
Okay.
that, and
so
I'm not sure what it says there on the note.
yes, it's inactivated the parcel. Parcel should not be active until 2025.
Right,
Yeah. Sale after. So that was a $362,300 decrease here, and then there was the second one from Dustin and Danielle Macy, added the above parcel to this one. We should have been separated, I guess, so we added that, so and then corrected the acreage too. So that went from 232,400 up to 529,900. Difference of 297,500. So I guess we just need a motion to accept these changes by our zoning administrator, our assessor.
I'll make a motion.
Second on that.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Opposed? Alright, so that's done. This, you wanna give us a rundown on this preservation easement?
yeah, so as part of the Bruin grant that the Historical Society got from Preservation Trust, there needs to be an easement put on the property, just they, and it's essentially to just make sure that there aren't gonna be any changes made to the building in terms of the historic nature or character of the building. We had to argue with them a little bit about it. Of course, the town owns several parcels there that are all combined on the tax bill, but, Andy made sure that this easement is only for the building itself, not for the whole parcel and all the land around it. I put that on the agenda, but I have not I haven't had a conversation with Jim Barlow about that. I don't know if that would be warranted, since it is a legal agreement. If we might wanna have him look at it, make sure that the town is, I think it's pretty much their standard agreement for an easement, but we don't have to take it up tonight, but if you want to wait for a legal review of that.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Is it just for the stamp, the footprint of the building? That's it?
I forget,
The
that was
lot.
like a quarter acre lot that the building's on, yeah,
Okay.
as opposed to the 3 acres that's
Yeah.
behind it.
So now would be to, like, well, if it ceased to be, if the town sold it, then
Right.
you'd have to,
We'd have to sell the easement as well.
no, you would return the grant, I would assume. That's to protect their investment.
I'm not sure if it's so much whether to prevent a sale of the property, it's to
No,
prevent any
it's
changes.
not to prevent the
Right,
sale,
right,
but
yeah.
I would assume it's, if you did sell it, then.
That's a good question.
Then why else would you need an easement? Unless it's to protect their investment, that must be what it is.
Right, well, I don't know that it says anything about sale of the property, it's mostly about changes to the property, like you can't change the facade of the property without them being involved, or,
Oh.
anything besides, regular
Well,
maintenance.
I would change more than the facade.
Right. But, I don't think it says anything about the sale of the property.
So it says this preservation easement is granted for a period of 5 years, so it's a 5-year thing?
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a permanent
Oh,
easement,
okay.
it's a short, sorry, I should have said that. It's not a permanent easement, it's a.
I have no
short-term.
issue with it.
Yeah. But,
The historical society has no issue with it.
no, they, as far as I know, they don't, like I
They did all
said.
that work to keep it looking like it did, I don't think they'd want to change it, but. Yeah, it says the grantor hereby grants to the grantee a preservation easement on a building known as
Okay.
H.H. Moore General Store, known as a building located on a lot or parcel of land in the town of Sheldon. So it's real, and more particularly described in Schedule A for the purpose of assuring preservation of the H.H. Moore General Store. I don't know, do you think we should have it looked at just to make sure we're not?
Everything I've heard so far, it's only for 5 years, I think it's more making sure that we don't also take that money and do something different with it. I mean, that's kind of what it sounds like to me, but.
They were pleased with I think, my wife said, I said, they were pleased that, like, the society, or our group there is doing all the work. They're one of the only ones that actually did things on time, and got work done with the money that they were granted, And they were like, wow, you guys really did a great job with the,
Grant money.
if that's the same, I think so.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have people who get the money and then they don't have the project ready to work on it. The historical society was kind of the opposite, they were waiting for that money so they could get to work on things.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with it, I just have no problem if we wanna send it to the town attorney, or just to say,
I have
hey,
no issue.
you go to the language of this, so.
I have no issue.
And all it talks about is changing the building.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
I don't think they're gonna do that.
I think they changed the
No,
building.
but I mean,
Yeah.
this doesn't
Yeah.
talk about anything else.
Yeah. It's such a, you guys could approve it and I could hold it, not return it until Jim's looked at it if you want, or
I'll move that we go ahead and, I'll make a motion that we.
I'll second.
Alright,
Those
So
are
you
the
got a motion
motions.
that we-
I'll get anybody's what we get.
Well,
Yeah.
we moved it.
so we need to sign this?
I believe there is a signature page on there.
Yeah,
All of us are just here.
just, want to do the authorization. Alright.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Everybody's got a witness in
We all were here.
there. You a notary?
Am I a notary? I am not a notary. That's a good question.
That should be signed in front of Kim.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. Alright, go ahead with that.
Okay, alright.
Alright. Alright.
I should be. I haven't,
Gonna add that to your list.
yeah, I know, I gotta go down to the courthouse and do that.
The personnel policy?
Oh, yeah, it's in the front there, I'm sorry. So I apologize, I didn't quite get this finished, but, I did do a bit of, so I'll just show you guys that I did a bit of a reorganization of this. It used to have something like 20 or 30 sections, and I kind of reduced that down to 8 or 9. Again, that's not quite finished yet, but.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so, and I didn't get the index done, which is the part I should have gotten done first, but in general, it would have,
Right. Take my word.
in general, it would just have, the first section would be introduction, which would be all the legal stuff, what the title, what the authority is, and just, you know, it's at-will employment, that the select board will administer it. So I didn't change any of the words here, really. I did add a section here with the purpose, what the purpose is, which is purpose is to inform employees of the guidelines of the town and establish effective communication and ensure equity in personnel administration. Again, I didn't change anything else here. There's some definitions I cleaned up a little bit, just mostly defining what's a full-time employee, what's a part-time employee who's entitled to benefits, what's a part-time employee that's not entitled to benefits. And then section 2 would just be the employment policy, so this would be an equal opportunity employer. Then this, the probationary periods that we have one upon promotion, and we had what was called a trial period on when you started, but I basically defined them both as a probationary period of 90 days. Just one says that when you're hired, you'll serve one, and then the other one says if you're promoted, you'll serve one. And then I also added one that the select board can choose at its discretion to put someone on probation. That there's a regular performance evaluation at the end of 3 months of employment or promotion. The results of the evaluation will be submitted to the employee and put in their file. Then there's an annual compensation review. Again, this is not changed from what there was before. The select board has the right for suspending or terminating anyone, how we keep personnel policy, records, and the non-discrimination policy. So those are all just straight from what we had before, just reorganized into one section instead of 4 or 5 of them. And then put all the things on compensation in one column. So this is all about overtime. These are the changes that we looked at last time where we were discussing compensatory time off and how we were gonna do the changes there. See that the changes I put in here are not here, so I've got to fix that, sorry. Anyway, so all the compensation's on one place, and then the benefits are all listed in one section. So instead of a separate section for each thing. Same thing with leave is now one column, and then it's just organized by subcategories of what, holiday leave, and then vacation, etc. And then there would be a separate section for So that's sort of, the first part of it is sort of things that the town would be offering to the employee and the procedures, policies that the town has. And then the next two sections would be the expectations of the employee, so employee conduct, including, drug and alcohol policy and all that. The definitions of examples of misconduct, use of town equipment and computers, this is all straight from what we had before. And then the final sections would be about procedures for how to deal with either something the town possibly did wrong or what employee complaints and grievances, and then also employee discipline and procedures for how to deal with that. And then the final thing would just be legal severability. If anything in this becomes invalid, the rest of it's still valid, and the select board adopting it. And then because as I mentioned last time, there's a sort of question about whether the town can repeal its current conflict of interest policy, given what the state kind of took away the ability to make or unmake that policy now. So I've just put it into an appendix to this. So the sexual harassment policy is one appendix, because that kind of goes both ways on the employer and on the employee. So there's I put a reference in it that the employee will also follow the things in the appendix. Now, there are a couple of policies that are alluded to in here that I have not found. One being the policy for CDL drivers for drug and alcohol. There's an allusion to the town having a separate policy for that. I don't know if we ever adopted that, or it was just in here. So I will try to draft something for that possibly, and we can adopt it separate from this policy, but it would just be added as an appendix.
Because the other drug and alcohol, the random testing and stuff, that's municipal. Doesn't matter if you're a CDL or not, or is that through because of the CDL, because they don't drug and alcohol test?
Yeah, I don't. Right, exactly. So it would be. The allusion in here is to CDL driver employees. Okay. So I think there is something in here about drug testing in the drug and alcohol part, but it does not constitute a separate policy for CDL drivers, which again I don't know. I know some towns do have it. But there is some towns have a policy for everything. So I don't know that we need to necessarily do that. But it's just because there is it's mentioned in here, but I don't know if we have that.
Well, that's what I was just trying to see. Do we need it mentioned in there, or because we have it in there, drug and alcohol?
Right.
Part, or is that something we need to have?
Here I'll read it. In the drug and alcohol abuse, it says reporting work under the influence of drugs or alcohol is strictly prohibited unless the drug is prescribed. And then it says the town of Sheldon has a drug and alcohol testing policy for commercial vehicle operators. Please review this document for more information. And then I'm not sure. I think there is I can't remember what section it is, but I think there is something in here about employees may be subject to random arrest or drug testing, but I don't know. I guess I should look at what other towns have for specific policies and see if there's things in there that are better or not, or not.
I mean, I guess it should be mentioned in there, or that they are going to be under scrutiny.
Are all CDL drivers under
Yeah, right.
random testing?
Unless they're self-employed.
Any
commercial
driver that works for a company is.
Right.
Now, is that something that will be notified by the state that they need to be tested randomly, or we just institute at a time like we want to test you
I
randomly?
didn't know if that was part of having a CDL that you
I think part
had
of
to go down to a
our,
certain.
Right, we have
We're
that.
required to.
Yeah, so we do that through our League of Cities and Towns Insurance, and they handle all that as far as I know. There's a company that they have contracted that handles all that.
Okay.
And they schedule the random test, they call us up and say, he needs a random test, and then they schedule it. And, then we do it.
But yeah, there probably should be some wording in there that, they're gonna be subject to drug and alcohol
Right.
testing and stuff
Yeah.
like
So one thing that, it's not specified in here when it discusses the health insurance policy, it says that the town will offer a benefit, but the town reserves the ability to change how much that benefit is in terms of either percentage or amount contribution. We did get the insurance rates that they're gonna change for next year. So I'm sure I'll use those guys, but they did
It
increase.
dropped drastically.
Yeah,
right?
yes, of course, only that, no.
Sweet.
The rates for the plan that we currently use went up 10.6%. So I haven't done the math on terms of how much that will mean for the whole budget, but just something for you guys to consider when we get to the budget situation.
that. When do those
Yeah.
plans change?
I think the coverage, this is for coverage starting in January, but
First.
yeah. I'm not sure if that is when our rates will change, but this is if you were enrolling today, your coverage would begin in January, so.
So that's something we need to look at before the first of the year, in case we decide to make changes.
Possibly, yeah, so I was hoping I'd have this for you guys, I figured in November we could look at budget, at least take a preliminary look at budget.
So it's time for you to get that in
Yeah,
for us for a meeting before the first of the year. And we
Yeah.
can look it over at least, see what we're jumping into.
right, the other thing I'm just gonna preview with my, report is that I did go to, the other town administrators and managers we had a lunch every 3-4 months, and we had that, and this came up in that, and not every town was there, but most of the other towns, but certainly all the towns that were there, they're not offering they're not as generous as we are. They almost all of them are making the employees contribute at least something
Yeah.
on that, but obviously they have other benefits that are more generous, and some of them have some benefits that are more generous than we have. They have bigger budgets than we have, but, anyway, just something I found out. Pass on. Anyway, so I'm sorry this isn't a complete product, I just wanted to, I just wanted to know if I was moving in the right direction here with in terms of simplifying it, a little bit, trying to put the sections together that would go together. I do need to still make the changes, that we talked about last time with regard to like the fire, volunteer policy, where we wanted to clean up that language a little bit. And, again, on the comp time, make that a little more clear in terms of when we were offering those benefits, or, how that regime would work, I guess I should say that.
Well, we can get that
Yeah.
together as soon as you can, and then give us a chance to read it through before we go.
Yes, yeah, that's the other thing that I didn't give you guys this, I'll try to get this to you before the next meeting, so you'll have time to look at it before the next meeting. Okay?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Yep.
Take that from there.
Oh, yeah, sure. And it's-
Before we get to this, a correction. We're cited in here several times,
Oh, yeah.
so that's gonna be something.
Oh, yeah.
Final.
Sorry about that.
Just so you know.
So we have a application here for a second class liquor license for a storage shop.
Say anything about ice cream delivery?
Is that what the previous store had, was the same
I believe
second
so.
class liquor license?
You approved a license for them in, I think it was in April, let me look really quick here.
Jolly's doing.
I don't think it's any change. The first class is,
Would be like a restaurant or something, or no, not a second, no. Yeah, sorry.
as long as, yeah. Alright, so I have a motion to accept this application.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
actually don't, that's the only thing I have is that,
Yeah.
that piece of paper, so, yeah. If there is a piece of paper, I'll make sure that I get that
The
piece.
road cut permit from Machine and Sons
Yeah.
Dairy, you said
Yeah.
the paperwork isn't,
So there's a folder there that says road cut on it, so it's been applied.
hasn't been approved by the road.
Correct, so Seth and I went out and looked at that, a few months, I think, there was some reason why they hadn't applied for that road cut, and I think they had a state permitting thing that they were doing. Anyway, Seth and I went out, happened to go out and visit Ron on a different issue, and they had already staked out where the road cut would be, and Seth, said, yeah, that would be good where that is. And so they just hadn't applied for this permit until this last week, and of course Seth was on vacation last week, so I contacted him earlier today and said, hey, should I tell the board that you'll be willing to sign off on that road cut? And he said yes, so he has not signed it yet, but he will tomorrow.
So under the location or physical address, it's not known yet?
So that's where they're seeking a
Oh, and
911 address, which is, so,
So there's not a whole lot for us to approve here, 'cause there's no sketch or there's no comments from anybody. So,
right, oh, I forgot. So, if you'd rather wait until next time, that's fine.
well, I
Yeah.
don't wanna sign something that
Right. It's just a
should be
blank.
filled in
Yeah.
there.
Okay.
I mean, I can come in and
Right.
when I come in and have that, I can miss it. So
Okay,
get back to work on
tomorrow, he'll be here tomorrow, so yeah. No, it's just
it. Is that
because,
alright, you guys?
yeah, I would have had that done today, but it was a holiday, so.
It's just a blank.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%, no.
A blank sheet too.
No,
Yeah,
You're coming down for the other paper too.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd rather see something on the paper
Okay.
to sign than sign a blank one. Right away, occupancy requests for Vermont Electric Co.
Alright, so that has a letter on top of it, and it's a bundle of paper, I think. That's it, I think, right on the top. That's it, yeah. It's, yeah. Sorry, I should have had that. So this is, if you remember when Seth was here, he mentioned that they were putting some new, pylon poles up on, Patel Road. And I believe that is what this is for.
Let's see, it says, electric line relocation and during project near Cattell Road, Crow Hill Road is scheduled for next year. We're currently working to finalize wetland permitting and easements. Also attached to town road right-of-way permit request for new aerial crossings in the 3 locations where we plan to directionally bore new underground service lines beneath the road. Carol Manning's house, Mark Reed's Sapp building, and Hunter Kerouac's house. I was hoping we each keep an executed copy for the records, and I'll still support the plan laid out. Yeah, anybody got any questions or concerns with us?
We're gonna get rid of some overhead wires.
Sounds like that. Yeah, do some line relocation on the tower.
Probably put the poles closer to the road, they probably got some of these out in the bushes poles.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
When those rural electric lines were put in,
Mm-hmm.
I can see
Years
some
ago,
goes across the field.
they were under the, that act here, which was REA from, federal government to get the rural lines. they were required to go the shortest distance between the houses instead of following the roads. That's why you see some places there where like, they'll be at this house and the road goes up here and over here, but the line, they'll put the wire just went straight across the whole farm. There's nothing out there. And they were required to go, part of the deal was that they had to go the shortest distance between the houses, not necessarily following the road. So later on, of course, back then it didn't go out. They broke out there and they climbed the pole and fix it. Today they don't climb poles. Unless they absolutely, and they want the pole beside the road so that they can maintain the line right from the road.
Yep.
Because, you know,
Makes sense.
so you see, yeah, stranger to see the lines. You see them going straight across instead of asphalt. Because that was part of the REA loop, that was part of the rules of putting the poles in. Don't spend any extra poles or extra wire to get service out there.
Right.
If there wasn't anybody on the road up around here, I didn't go up around here, it just went straight across.
Okay, I get a motion to sign this. All of us gotta sign it on this, so.
I think, yeah, that's the sign for all of you.
I guess I'll do it.
I'm fine with it, yes, I'll make a motion to sign it.
Alright, a second on that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. Alright, this is the Select Board Water Commissioner meeting from September 23rd, 2024. Held here at the town office at 7:30. Attendance from the Select Board was Stephen Dodd, Seth Hummerford, and Greg Stebbins. Others are Matt Stebbins, Town Administrator. 7:47, I opened the meeting and read the agenda. Added to the agenda, the generator at Sheldon School and the highway report. 7:49, Seth Patel gave the highway report. On Wednesday, Hummerford Paving will inspect the fire department lot, Grist Mill Park Court prior to paving. The road crew prepped the base at the fire department last week and will take down the fence at the park tomorrow. A quote is being requested for new guardrails on Mill Street and Sheldon Heights. These will be installed at the end of October with the road crew providing flagging. Crew will do culvert and ditching work on Patel Road next week. Salt shed will be repaired for this winter, but should be replaced. A new lawnmower and a replacement of the Western Star truck are the foreman's recommendations for next equipment upgrades. Crew will begin working winter hours the week of Columbus Day. At 8:09, a meeting to discuss the Fairfield Pond Swanton water line will be held at the Sheldon Town offices on October 1st at 12:30. As more than 3 members are expected to attend, this will be warned as a special select board meeting. 8:12, the board took up the pricing contract for the winter salt received from Cargill. The quoted rate is the same as last year. Seth made a motion, seconded by Nick, to approve this contract. Motion was carried. Steve signed the contract on behalf of the board. 8:13, the board took up a request for a water bill abatement from Richard and Phyllis Archibald. The usage provided is water leak that has since been repaired.
Sign it on top of it if you want.
Seth made a motion to abate the water usage to an average of the previous 3 months, seconded by Greg, and motion carried. Board agreed that the town current water and sewer fees need to be reviewed to include adopting a standard policy for abatement. 816, the board took up a judicial registration to enforce the dog ordinance. For the town to enforce an ordinance in the judicial bureau, it must be assigned a departmental number and appoint officials to issue tickets, appear in court, and handle records and fees. The town administrator provided 2 letters drafted to make these requests. 819, a motion is made by Nick, seconded by Greg, to request a departmental number and approve the list of officials to enforce the dog ordinance. Motion carried, and Steve signed the letter on behalf of the board. 821, I read the minutes of the September 9th meeting. The board signed the accounts payable and payroll warrants and fleet permit. 826, Rick made a motion, seconded by Nick, to accept the minutes as read. Motion carried, the minutes were signed by the board members. 827, the board took up discussion of the Sheldon School generator. The town obtained a generator from FEMA years ago and installed it at the school, which is the town's designated emergency shelter. Maintenance has been deferred recently, apparently, owing to a understanding that the school custodians would assume these duties and a change of staffing. According to the supervisory union, other towns in the district pay for the maintenance of their school generators. As the school is still the primary emergency shelter, the town will continue to maintain the generator. Now will schedule a service call to inspect and repair the generator. Have the highway crew trained for the ongoing maintenance and create a maintenance schedule. 836, Matt gave the town administrator's report. Town is appealing the Agency of Agricultural Pesticide fine and pre-hearing will be scheduled soon. Hydraulic study has been requested for a culvert on Cook Road. V-Trans estimates the rehabilitation project for Bridge Street Bridge will be in 2030. Due to the scarcity of repair parts, one of the 3 pumps of the Crow Hill booster station has been replaced. Hubert is investigating a water leak on Pleasant Street, East Sheldon Road. Matt will request that Otter Creek Engineering seek bids for the Mill Street wastewater project. And 906, motion to adjourn is made by Seth, seconded by Nick, carried with all in favor. Next meeting is Monday, September 30th for a town plan hearing. Motion to accept these minutes is read.
Have one correction on that, the attendance doesn't have myself or Rick. At the top, does it? I think Matt just printed off.
Yeah, I made a mistake there. So you can, this one, fixed on that. I just printed it.
Okay.
It's all about.
Shred that.
Right, yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Alright, so with the corrected attendance schedule in there, you get a motion to accept this. Right?
Make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Alright, September 30th, Select Board Water Commissioner Special Meeting. Held here, town office. 7:30. Hearing procedures. In attendance from the Select Board, Jimmy Dodd, Seth Rick Stebbins, and there's from Matt Stebbins, Town Administrator. 7:30, I opened the public hearing meeting and read the warning. Draft town plan was submitted to the Select Board by the Planning Commission following a public hearing on June 25th, 2024. Primary changes from the previous town plan were the creation of a separate zoning district in Sheldon Springs and the addition of an enhanced energy plan, Appendix A. These changes were made to bring the plan into compliance with state law as well as state and regional planning. The Select Board proposed and approved revisions to the draft plan at the regular meeting on August 26th, 2024. These were factual revisions which corrected and or updated information regarding town history, municipal property, zoning permits, and Grand West parcel data. No concerns or points of serious discussion were raised. 7:52, I closed the public hearing. And then we went into a special select board meeting. At 7:52, we called the meeting to order. There were no additions to the agenda. Seth made a motion, seconded by Greg, to adopt the current draft of the town plan, which carried with all in favor. The plan will now be submitted for approval to the Regional Planning Commission. 8:05, Seth moved to adjourn the meeting, seconded by Greg, and the motion carried. Next meeting is October 1st, at 12:30 at the office. Get a motion to accept these minutes as read.
I make motion to accept those as read.
Second on that.
Wasn't there for it, so.
Greg, you want to second that?
Oh, yes.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright, now we got a select board water commissioner special meeting on October 1st of 2024, held here at the town office at 12:30. In attendance from the select board, Stephen Dodd, Nicholas Norris, Rick Piasny, and Greg Stebbins. And the Agency of Ag, Food and Markets, for Nancy Tebbets, secretary, and P.E.G. And Swamp Village was represented by Bill Sheets, village manager, Lynn Paradis, assistant village manager, Dean Ryan from Public Works, and Eugene Lombard, the village trustee.
Yeah.
Others here were Ronald Macy, Bill Rowell, Brian Rowell,
Yeah.
Matt Fedorey, town administrator. 12:37, I opened the meeting and read the agenda. I welcomed the guests and explained the reason for warning the meeting. Each person then introduced themselves. 12:38, Bill Sheets gave an overview of the history of the Swanton Village water line from Fairfield Pond. Due to the decline of water quality in the pond, the village ceased using the water line for municipal supply in the late 70s, retaining it only for emergency fire suppression. Some households and businesses in Sheldon continued to use the water, including farms owned by the Rowell and Macy families. The water line now terminates at the Rowell farm about 5 miles from the pond. The village does not anticipate ever using the line again for potable water or fire protection. It is concerned about the potential liability impact if the line were to break. Their current plan is to install a shut-off valve at the intake of Fairfield Pond and abandon the water line by July 1st of 2025. The village will be willing to cede the line to another entity, provided all liability risk was assumed by that entity. 12:42, Secretary Tebbets asked some clarifying questions about the location and the path of the water line. Dean Ryan noted that the line goes mostly through very rugged country, making access for repair work difficult. Secretary Tebbets asked about water treatment. Bill Sheets explained that the state requires that Fairfield Pond water be treated before it is used, and that the water flowing in the line is untreated. Bill Rowell explained that their farm only uses the line for water to cattle, and the water is treated at the farm before supplying their animals. Ron Macy said that his farm does the same. At 12:47, Ron Macy noted that at one point, people who had been using the water line were supposed to be supplied with a drilled well. He has drilled several wells on his farm, but has been unable to find adequate supply of water for his herd. Bill Rowell agreed this is a central problem for both farms. They did not have alternate water sources. At 12:48, Rick Stebbins asked about the size of the pipe and material used. Dean Ryan explained that the pipe varies in diameter from 8 to 12 inches and is a cast iron. The static pressure on the line was also discussed. 1252, Bill Sheets and Dean Ryan discussed the potential liability arrest. Ryan Rowell said that a municipality might be better positioned legally to manage liability arrest than a private entity. At 1254, I asked about the water quality requirements for agricultural uses, and as some farmers draw water directly from streams or ponds for cattle to drink. And I asked about the dam in the Swanton Village recently sold to the town of Fairfield, what it would happen to the water line as the dam was removed. Bill Sheets noted that Fairfield purchased the dam to maintain the current water level. 104, Greg Stebbins asked about the state permit for the water line. Bill Sheets said there is currently no state permit. Greg asked if the line were transferred to another town or association, would the agency of natural resources issue a permit. Greg was concerned about the town of Sheldon assuming liability for the water line, and that the select board could not do that without input from voters. 109, Steve asked, said he would prefer to see a water association formed between the farms and the fire department rather than the town of Sheldon being involved, as the town does not have a need for the water. And Bill Rowell asked whether the town might need a backup supply for the fire suppression water system in Sheldon Springs, which is supplied from the river by West Rock. There was no discussion on there was a discussion of fire hydrants on the Swan water line. 128 said, thank the participants for their input. The agencies and agricultural and natural resources will be involved in trying to find a solution. 123, Nick made a motion, seconded by Rick, to adjourn the meeting, which carried all in favor. Next meeting is Monday, October 14th at 7:30, which is tonight. Take a motion to accept those minutes as read. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? You got a report for us?
Yeah, I can give you a quick rundown here. So the water line on Pleasant Street was repaired. That was pretty much done the next day after our last meeting, within a couple days. So it was a couple days after that, so we had to get dig safe called and all that, but it's just a issue just past the curb stop. There was a nipple that broke off, so that was repaired. The paving project for
Question.
yes, yeah.
Okay, so from the service, was the expense of that to the owner?
I do not know if if that was expense to the owner or not.
So, because the town owns to the service line, to the shop,
To the meter,
to the meter now?
isn't it? Or is it to the curb stop?
I didn't know, like, who's responsible for the line, cause, okay, so they fixed the line from where the shut off is to the resident.
Correct.
So that pipe, I'm not sure that we're responsible for that line to the home.
Right. So I don't know. I gotta say I don't know the policy well enough to answer that either.
I thought it was at the curb stop.
Usually, so the town, the municipality puts the water there, here's the shut off. If you don't pay the bill, we shut it off.
Right here, yeah.
Or if there's issues there, we shut it off. But I think the service line from we should look into that
Okay.
policy. I'm glad it's fixed,
Right.
but a leak is there, right, to be repaired, but I'm not sure. Seems like that's,
Yeah, and I'm not sure what happened in that case. It may be that it was repaired and we did bill.
I know
I don't know the answer to that. I guess I didn't ask.
Another good reason that we need to review our
Water billing
I
policy.
wanna say that
and all that.
The sewer, the line, yeah,
It's the same.
once you get off, well, the reason being, once you get
Yeah,
off
far
the
right.
town, once you get off town property, as soon as you get off the road, you're not on town property anymore.
That's where the curb stop should be placed, or normally is placed, is in,
It's in the town right away.
right at the end of the.
Within the right of way of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you've got the town-owned meter that's on,
That's like any municipality, the town owns the meter inside, yeah.
but they're from the curb stop, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I will get an answer on that in terms of A, what our policy is, and B, what happened in this
Yeah.
case.
Okay.
The paving project for the mill and the fire department is, we did everything we said about it, and I informed them, and they came and looked at it the week before, and I thought they were coming back the next week, and the email that I got after they looked at it was, yeah, we'll be back in a couple, we've got a couple weeks to go, and I was kind of really confused by that, because it was different from what we'd heard before, but,
But they were good.
Yeah.
Good with what.
as far as I think they added a little bit to the base that was down there. They brought in some extra stone, I guess, but, I didn't
Supposed to be 70 years.
ask about that, so,
Going back up next week.
yeah, I mean, provided that we have good weather, it won't be an issue, but,
After the Wednesday, or it's supposed to go back to
right,
summer.
yeah. So I
Alright.
hope to get contact from them this week to have an idea of the actual timetable there. So the road crew went and did the culverts out on the Kittel Road there 2 weeks ago. They did have to do 1 day of overtime, but that's, again, it will be on the grant, so. But they had to, in the end, Seth decided to rent an excavator for that, for that project.
Yeah,
He couldn't quite get the arrangement together with Stewart on his.
Yeah, he called me.
Yeah. But I think it was $1,500 or $1,600 for the week for the excavator, which was reasonable, I think. And I went out, looked at it. I mean, I'm not an expert on it, but it looked like an improvement up there. Seth was on vacation last week, so the other two, so they were mostly doing the lawn maintenance and things like that, working on the shop. As I mentioned, the health insurance rates came out, so I just had a note to tell you about it here, I already told you. And I went to administrator's lunch that week, and a few of the topics we talked about, one was as I said, insurance rates and what towns are doing for their policies, and I need to ask it. I think I'm gonna check back with a few of my counterparts again about what other towns are doing, their policies, to let you guys know in terms of where we're at compared to the other towns.
That's for her.
No. You can do it.
And,
So it's prepaid, you'll get for free.
I don't know the details on it, but I know they've done that.
a couple of the other topics we talked about had to do with some having to do with IT. What I think we're doing better than some towns with our arrangement with Matt. And actually Matt came this week, and he and I kind of discussed the bare bones of what he'd like to see happen in terms of the next equipment upgrades to be done. I kind of have I told him I'd like to get started on the budget process a little sooner, but he said the prices are changing a lot in computers, so that he can give a ballpark figure in terms of what he'd like to do, but then the specifics of what the town might be doing, you could look at that in January. Anyway, so I had a kind of discussion with him about some improvements we could or could not make. Some of it having to do with the requirements for recording the meetings and what we're doing, what our alternatives are for that. And I think we're pretty well covered, but I just wanted to discuss with him because he works with other towns and see how they've managed that and also just his opinions on different ways of solving that in terms of technology working or not working. There was a police committee meeting last week. I wasn't able to go to that, and I had some conversation with Jesse Woods about it, but I'm not sure. But that was before the meeting, so I'm not sure what happened there. Transpired, but I'll be getting in touch with
You know about one.
I don't know.
you know.
I reach out to Tom.
Right. Yeah. So I just know that that committee's continuing to work there. Justin and I went out and started some fall inspections for the grand list for next year, mostly just because there are a fair number of new houses and new barn buildings going up in Sheldon. So the idea would be to go out at this time of the year and get the building measured out. And then when we return and when we do the inspections in April, then all we have to do is just update the condition of it and all that. So we got about a third of them done last week, and we'll probably do another third of them this week and finish them off next week. So that seems to be going well. And again, as I mentioned, I'm working, would like to have at least a preliminary budget discussion at one of your meetings next month. I'm hoping to show you some kind of graphs or some sort of condensed information about what the recent history of budgeting for each line item, and also what kind of get an idea of what other towns are doing on certain line items. And then I'm hoping by that time I'll have gone to each of the departments and talked about what sort of equipment upgrades they might be looking for, what they'd be asking for in the budget for the next year. And I've got one thing, there is a settlement that we are involved in with having to do with the opioids that was part of there was a statewide settlement, and then each of the towns were sort of given a certain dedicated tranche of that, so I have signed us up as a way to receive that money, and then we'll have to decide what we want to do with it in terms of, because it can only be spent in certain ways. Or it can be, right, and then, or it can be given, or you can just take the town share and give it to the state for them to use if you don't want to do anything with it. But, anyway, that's one thing that, it's just been one of those things that's kicking around that I finally dealt with, and, have completed the work on I submitted the grant, paperwork for the paving grant to the closeout report for that, and I'll be working on the one they did for the grants and aid soon. And then I'm hoping to touch base with Kyle Grenier soon about where that sidewalk and the pedestrian and bicycle grant is at, and ask him about some potential projects that we could do for other grant programs. I'd like to find a grant program we can use to make some improvements on Mill Street, going down toward the mill, those ditches in there, if there's some way that we can improve that.
Yeah.
So, I think that's it.
Do you have any updates on the Mill Street sewer?
Yeah, I reached out to Otter Creek and asked them to, so I had reached out to East Engineering, but he was busy. And then I've sent a request to Otter Creek to just move forward and try to seek some bids over the winter to see what we can do.
Have them right up the line of scope so we can
Yeah.
discuss that, and then we can send it out so we know what we're hoping to have.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And then have you got anything more on the Camry?
No, so yeah, I finally got a hold of Minash. I had called them, like a month or so ago, and they had, I'd said what we were looking for, and they referred me to the guy who comes and does it, and then I guess he had a health emergency that week or something, so he never got back in touch with me. So I finally called them back. They're gonna come unfortunately, they couldn't do it until, I think, the first or second week of November. So I think it's the day after Veterans Day they'll be here, but he said that if
So
they get a break, they'll come earlier, yes.
So we still may be fine in the,
Yeah.
writing up what we may want done, so
Yeah.
at least understanding.
On the funding for the opioid, we have no idea what that.
The amount is on that, I looked it up, but I don't have it on the tip of my, brain right now, but I can find out what that is.
Approximation.
It was, I wanna say it was probably, I forgot, it's less than, let's put it this way, it's less than like, I would say it's less than $10,000, for that one.
Okay.
But I don't remember right now, I'll find out the answer to that.
How will we do with them?
So,
Towards law enforcement.
some of it would be, one thing you could do with that is if our fire department, for example, is gonna respond to overdoses or something, you could give them Narcan or something like that, that would be one acceptable use for it. There's
Education
a-
at school?
Education would be one, yes, there's, I mean, it's a big lawsuit,
Prevention is worth the
a
pound.
big list of things you can do with it, yeah.
See what they say we can spend the money on.
When we had that individual who was camping out in the ravine below, Sheldon Mini Mart, that area right there, did we go through with any sort of, regulations that the town has set up about encampments on town property or in general, if they don't meet health standards? Do we have anything in writing that addresses those?
Negative.
That,
Something to look
yeah, it's something to think about, cause that's a problem that's coming to, I mean, there's a situation that lady still lives down there by the rail trail in Enosburg.
No,
Oh, she moved,
not
but
just,
she was there for a while.
Oh, no, Island Kingsdale with that, out by the car wash. Well, they came back there,
Carol,
the one that he purchased in St. Albans,
Oh.
across from Domino's.
leave it alone.
So, just something on the books that is in line with what we helpful for the town.
Oh, I shouldn't, I know that, Cody did do a couple of dog complaints, on this weekend. I haven't heard what happened on it exactly, but he's still had a few things he's responded to.
Still
so-
working for it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Must be doing all right then.
Yeah.
All right, anything else we need to discuss?
No,
Motion to adjourn for the evening.
I'll make a motion to adjourn for the evening.
Second on that,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?